Hello and welcome to All Things Seniors. This is your host, Rafiq. With over 20 years of caregiving experience, on this channel, I empower other caregivers one episode at a time. So today, we will talk about how we empower our seniors so that they can continue to have that independence for a little longer or for as long as possible, right? I'll give you an example. See, many a times what happened that in my case, for example, I am not at home during the day. I come in the evening, I have this guilt that, oh my God, I didn't do much for my dad all day today. So if he's sitting and he could have very easily gotten up and maybe got his own food, I would, in my guilt, I'll say, Dad, you know what, let me get this food for you. I'll put it in his plate, or I'll do a couple of smallest of things which otherwise he can't do by himself, which if he would do, would allow him to have this mobility, or he'll get up and have this small physical activity. But in my guilt or in my love, I continue doing these small things for him which he has not asked me for. So it's one of those examples where I wanted to highlight that what can we continue to allow them to do which will continue to have this mobility in their life and which will allow them to have this independence for long in their life. So let's talk about 3 or 4 things which I will share with you today, which I have seen has helped me in my relationship with my father, which has allowed him to be more mobile and more independent in his life. So let's start with number 1. So number 1 thing is, see what are the things which they can continue to do, right? And emphasize on what they can do and what they cannot do. Because as a culture, as a psychological thing, if we highlight things which they can do, they will also feel that they are independent, they can do more things, and they will not feel too bad about things which they now cannot do anymore. Like, if your loved one now cannot drive anymore, but they can still walk for half an hour, there is no point in making them feel about you can't drive anymore. It's better to talk about, I'm so happy that Dad, you still walk, or it's so good of you to push yourself to go out for a walk, because that mobility will allow them to continue to be independent for long. And as I give you the example of me starting to do small things for my dad which he has not asked for, I think that's a point to remember for all of us caregivers. Create this culture. Tell your parents, tell your loved one that anything that they need our help with, tell them to ask for it. Now, if we start doing those small things for them, which we can do, which I'm sure that they appreciate, that we are showing our love for them, but I think slowly and gradually it will take away their mobility, take away their independence, and I think it's not good in the long run. So whatever they can do by themselves, whatever brings them that more mobility, that extra step, that extra action, right, that bodily function, that's great for their long-term independence. So that's thing number 1. Let them continue to do whatever they can and ask them to ask for help rather than just assume that they would need help. So that's my tip number 1. My tip number 2 is use those adaptive technology or tools which will allow them to continue to be independent for long. And let's take this example. You might have seen those door handles, which are like the circular door handles, right? Which somebody had to grab and hold and then turn the knob. And as and when the bodily strength or the grip becomes weaker, it becomes difficult for older adults or anybody with limited arm strength would be difficult to use that kind of a door handle, right? So rather than using a doorknob, we have now installed door handles in our homes. So, the bar style door handles. And also, instead of the keyhole needing the key to be entered, and again, a precise location for entering the key and then the strength to turn the key, instead of that, because some older adults are unable to do that, we have installed a keypad. Now, yes, it was initially an expense for us, but now that expense has allowed my parents to be independently come in and out of the home. Previously, we were finding that there were times when they would say, hey, can you please use my key to open the door for me? And giving them this independence, they feel good. They can go by themselves out for a walk during the day. Even when I am not home, they don't have to worry about they'll go out, but then they will remain stuck out of the house because now they cannot get in. So what we have done now is this numpad or a touchpad lock. When they go out, there is a lock button. They press the lock, the door automatically gets locked. When they come back, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, but yeah, they have a number, and then they get inside the house. And this small tool or change of an apparatus has made their life a bit more independent now. Similarly, my dad would have otherwise had to get up off his chair to turn on or off the light, but we have installed Google, and my dad will talk to Google and then ask it to turn on or off the light, which again allows him to get in touch with the latest technology. He feels good about it. He also has now this renewed connection with my nieces and nephews. Like, he has these grandkids, and now he would say, hey, you know what, why don't you teach me how to use this device? And in a way, it gives them a connection with the next generation, which again is hugely important, this intergenerational connection for their long-term independence. So number one, don't assume tasks, allow them to do things that they can do. Number two, use of technology and gadgets which will make their life a bit more independent, right? Let's talk about number three. So this task number three that I'll share with you is about incorporating a couple of routine items in their schedule. Now, I'm sure they have their own routine. They get up in the morning, they have their morning schedule of either taking a bath or whatever they do in the morning in terms of like breakfast preparation, change of clothes. That's their routine. These are the tasks they do for themselves. But I encourage you to find those couple of smaller things which they could incorporate in their schedule, which they would do either for you or for the household, right? What do I mean by that? So I'll give you an example. Like, for example, my dad, he would say after lunch or dinner, he'll say, hey, out of all the dishes, if some dishes are lightly used, please put them in the sink. Don't put them in the dishwasher, because he likes to wash those dishes by hand. Now, can these dishes also be put in the dishwasher? Yeah, but allowing him to, in a way, have this input for the wider household, he feels a sense of purpose. It also allows them to have those extra steps, extra bodily motion, and more muscles are being used, more bodily activities being done. It will allow him to be more independent for longer. He also has always liked to iron clothes. He still does. So he will say, Rafiq, once the laundry is done, please keep your clothes in the laundry area or in the ironing area. And he would, over a period of a week, iron some clothes as and when he feels right. What it does, again, same thing, bodily motion, bodily movement, allowing him to use those muscles group. And also, it gives us another connection. When I come back in the home to home in the evening, he will say, hey, you know what, today I ironed 3 of your shirts. They are in the ironing area. Please take them with you to your bedroom. So that in a way, he is showing me his love rather than just always taking love. He's reciprocating. He's contributing to the house, which is good for his mental health, which is good for his independence for long. I'll give you another example of my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's body is getting more fragile, more frail. She's not unable to do a lot, but she really likes to still contribute. So she'll say, hey, at night, before she goes to bed, she would cut some apples and put them in a box so that next morning when I'm going for work, she'll say, Rafiq, I have some apples ready for you. Please take them with you. Now, this is a small gesture which she likes to do every day. This is her way of showing me her love, and she has made this part of her routine. And I think these smaller things becoming part of their routine of contributing to the household will make them independent for longer periods of time. So see how you can find some of those things which you can incorporate in the daily routine of your loved one. Before I tell you a couple more, if you are liking it, if this is helping you in any way, please like the episode, please subscribe to the channel, because what happens, YouTube will say, hey, look at this caregiver liking this episode, subscribing to the channel. This content must be good for other caregivers too, and YouTube will show it to other caregivers, and we together can help more people around the world. So please do that. That helps the channel. Another thing which I would highly encourage you to do, which will help your loved one to have independence for longer, is involve them in decision making, right? We all like to be part of the discussion. Nobody likes to have things imposed on them. I don't like it. I'm sure you don't like it. And our loved ones have not liked it all their life. And there is no point imposing things on them now because what? They just need care now? Like, it's not fair. So let's bring them into discussion. We may not be able to bring them into every decision making, but things like, what would they have today for a meal? Rather than imposing, we can ask them. Or what kind of shopping they would like to go when we go out for a restaurant. Having them as part of discussion will make them feel continue to be contributing in this mix of people, in this social circle, and allow them to be mentally happy, which will allow them to be physically more fit, which will allow them to be independent for long. So I highly encourage you to apply this thing. I want to add one more thing. My last thought that I want to leave you with is, there is one thing that we need to change culturally when our loved ones get older. Remember, do not rush. We have this tendency of, oh my God, I'm getting late for work, and we would rather drive fast, or getting out of home, we are putting our shoes and a jacket and a tie, fast, grab the bag, run. But when we are a caregiver, especially when we are going out with our loved one, we cannot rush, because when we rush, we are undermining the fact that our loved one will not be able to rush with us. And this expectation that now we are forcing them to move fast, which is almost a physical inability for them to do, it is insensitive, it will make them feel bad, our relationship will not be good. So I highly encourage you that, especially when you are getting out of the home together, getting in the car, or when you are going out for a walk, or when you are in the kitchen working on meal preparation as a family together, whenever you are part of a physical activity where your loved one is with you, and with their age, with their physical inabilities, as much as they want to, they will not be able to act or move fast. Plan to work slowly. Do not rush. The worst that could happen is that if you guys are going out, you will be a few minutes late. The worst it could happen is that if you were rushing so that you all could sit down and watch something on TV together, you will miss a few minutes, right? I think it should not be as big a deal to compromise the relationship that we all work so hard to build. So these are some of my tips. What works for you? Please do write in the comment. I always love to hear comments from our viewers, because we all have tried certain things that has worked for us, right? And if you do something which you have seen help your loved one have this longevity of independence, please do write in the comments. I would love to learn from you. Our other subscribers and viewers would love to read and become better caregivers. And in the end, as you always know, I do say, take good care of yourself. Take rest, because a rested caregiver is a better caregiver. Thanks for watching this show, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.